Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We have been working on this Gottlieb Royal Flush, and we did a long video on it already where we kind of limped through repairing it instead of doing it the way that we usually do it, where we systematically go through and clean all the switches, adjust everything. We kind of did troubleshooting to figure out why the game wouldn't start. And if you missed that video, go back and check it out. And at the end of the video, I was jokingly saying, oh look, it's working now, everything's good, and then we played it and it didn't advance the ball, which it was a joke anyway, because of course we haven't serviced a whole bunch of stuff on it, but I figured I'd see if that's actually going to happen over and over again. So let's see if it'll still start. Might be short some credits. Now we've got some credits. See the 500. Let's kick the ball out. So what we did was we shot the ball up. It must have hit the runway switch there, which probably only messes with that. I think we scored that, got our 500 points, and then we lost the ball. Notice that the first player is not lit up. Yes, okay, so I think we're in a situation where it's actually not going to advance the player unit. So we'll try some other stuff here. Score that, knock a couple drop targets down, land in there. Yeah, so we're in a place where there's still all kinds of stuff not working. So next step, I think we will start going through it systematically. Let me show you how the player unit works though, how it goes from ball 1 to ball 2 real quick, so I can show you why it's important to basically hit everything instead of trying to peck and choose which switch must be screwed up if it's a machine that's never been serviced. If it's been serviced recently, yeah, if you get a problem, just find that one switch that's the problem. But if it's one like this that's been sitting a long time, all the switches are a problem. So these are the Gottlieb Royal Flush schematics. If you need some of these, a good place to get them is the Pinball Resource. Go to pbresource.com. These are the original ones that came with the machine, but they make nice copies that are nice and big like these, that are accurate and exact, and they have the license actually from Gottlieb to reproduce those and all of that. So make sure to support them and check them out. Also, they are the company that's making all of the reproduction Gottlieb parts that we have available. It's a great company. It's a mom and pop place. So the player unit is actually what makes the ball count unit step up. Because whenever it gets, like if it's at the first position, your player 1, ball 1, player 2, ball 1 is the second position, and so on. So to get to player 1, ball 2, it has to move up to the 5th position, and it didn't do that. So in the previous video, we worked on this, but what we worked on was the reset sequence. So we worked on when the AX relay pops down, it provides power down here through the start relay, and it goes through the Z1 and Z2 relays, or gets to a certain spot where it resets all of these, etc., etc. But whenever you're playing the game, it has nothing to do with that. When you're playing the game, the way that the add player unit gets pulsed is through all of this. So power comes through here, goes through the U relay, which is the first ball relay. That pulls in whenever you score something on your first ball. And then as the score motor turns, and the P relay pulls in, which is the add player unit relay, that's pulled in whenever the ball goes through the trough in the bottom. If the BX relay isn't pulled in, which is the last ball relay, if it's not the last ball in the game, and then as the score motors turn in, blah, 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 blah. So there's all this all this has to happen to make the player unit work while the game is being played. And you have to have the switch on the Z1 relay and the switch on the Z2 relay working right for it to work. The way we did it was the reset relay. I mean the reset way, so it didn't use this part of the schematic. So that's why it's working to reset, which you just saw, but it's not working during gameplay. So our problem is probably on the U relay. It may be on the Z1 or the Z2 relay. We're going to have to clean all of that. So I think we'll start in the bottom. I'm going to get a vacuum cleaner and start vacuuming it out And when we get to the U relay, we'll check it out real close. My theory is that switch there isn't working properly. Alright, so I vacuumed it out, but it was actually still in pretty good shape already. There wasn't that much trash in there. Of course, there's a lot of dirt and discoloration, but, you know, I vacuumed out all of the dust bunnies at least. Now, interestingly enough, on the previous video, we worked on the AX relay, we worked on the game over relay, we worked on the BX relay, and we found that all of those had switches misadjusted and stuff. And wouldn't you know it, the U relay is actually right there. Didn't he mention something about the first ball relay in the email that he sent us? He said something about that he had messed with the first ball relay, I think. All right, so we read this in the first thing, and he said what he said about it was, I would activate the AX relay manually, and it would stop the game. Could be partially played at that time. Often I would have to manually trip the first ball relay, and it would work. So that's how he mentioned the first ball relay. He says, I watched the videos and tried to clean and realign the AX relay contacts. I failed terribly. I did adjust the spring so if the AX relay would click freely into place. Okay, yeah. So I'm not... Again, I mentioned this in the first video. I'll mention it here too. I'm not shaming anybody or anything like that. When I got my first machine, I couldn't fix a damn thing on it. I actually sold it without fixing it. My second machine, it was already kind of working. I didn't really fix much. I got it working maybe a little bit better and then sold it. My third machine, I got everything but like one thing fixed, blah, blah, blah. So it's a learning curve, and there's nothing wrong with tinkering with it. A lot of people, they have the opinion, you know, if you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't mess with it. I don't agree. I don't agree at all. That's the stay in your lane argument. I don't like that argument. You know, you bought the machine. If you want to work on it, you work on it. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you screw up, you can get somebody to fix it. Now, I guess it depends on what it is. Don't try brain surgery if you don't know what you're doing. But working on a pinball machine, the damn thing can be fixed. So it's not that big of a deal. So if there's some stuff misadjusted and all of that, that doesn't really say anything about the person that did it. It just shows that they were trying to fix it. They wanted to play the freaking game. I don't blame them. So let's look at that one next, just for giggles. But we're going to go ahead and clean all of them too. But that would actually be the next one that we clean. So let's see if it's adjusted properly. All right, so here is the relay. If you look at that bottom one, I can just tell by looking at it that one's not going to touch. It's too far apart. So that's been bent. So yeah, so when the relay pulls in, that one never closes. So that switch exists for a reason. It needs to open and close. Right now it's just opening. It never closes. The rest of them, though, look as if they're probably close enough that they work. So I'm going to clean them and adjust that one. Let's see what that one goes to. Red and white wire, which I know is the main power feed, I believe, and white and blue wire. So one tough thing about the schematics is it's hard to find which switch is what, because there's no list in the schematics of each switch. Sometimes in the manual, though, it will show you that. Some games have manuals, some don't. But sometimes there is a list of the relays in the manual, and it'll show you every switch that's on it and what the color of the wires going to that switch is and what they do. But sure enough, white and black, or white and blue, BL means blue, B means black, white and blue, a switch on the U relay, and then the other side is, are you ready for it? I think you're ready for it. Oh, it's red and white. So, we got it. I knew exactly which switch it was. Look at that. That's impressive, isn't it? I'll go ahead and pat myself. Oh, I fell down patting myself on the back. Okay, so I cleaned through all of the switches and the switches on the score motor. Let's see if it fixed that one issue or if I've made it any worse, and then we'll continue. Well, let me get some more credits on it again. It's definitely not on free play yet. Alright, so our whole thing is we're just trying to get it to advance to the next ball. That's exactly what we did before. Okay, so it advanced 2 positions, but it didn't get to position 4. So it advanced past 1 and past 2, but stopped on 3. So that's our next little clue. Let's see if whenever this ball ends, what it does next. Okay, so that time it made it. All right, that's an interesting little problem. Let me show you what that problem is. So we're back at that same exact place, and that switch was the one that was open. We have fixed that, so now power connects through here. And then it gets up to here. Coin unit. We'll look for the coin unit. But as the score motor is turning, when the ball goes through the trough, it closes the P relay. Now, that U relay is permanently closed. That will just stay closed. So all of these are permanently, you know, power can go through them. I don't know if I should say permanently, but this P, when it closes, as the ball goes through the thing, that's when it starts stepping up. So why would it only step up 2 and then stop? Well, there's 2 reasons. It could be that P isn't holding in long enough and it drops back out, but that's probably not it. So you have the BX relay here, which is the extra ball relay. So if that hasn't pulled in, and I've cleaned that, that should stay how it is, right? And then the power should come up to here. And then as the motor turns, the score motor, when it gets to position 1A, it will close, or whatever it does at 1A. Looks like it closes 5 times, actually. Bup, 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 bup. And at the same time, back here you have motor 2C. It's going to close at a certain place. That's interesting. Okay, and then power comes through here. It goes through Z1, which is closed. And then power goes through Z2, which is closed. And it gets up to here, and it adds the player unit. So we just saw it do that twice. It added the player unit twice. Okay, so this is the interesting part. Motor 1A. Now this is kind of deep schematic theory, but you're going to love it. If you get your mind around it, you're going to say, what a genius. What a genius way to do it. So when the ball kicks over that P relay, the P relay pulls in, and a switch on it turns on the score motor. And the score motor starts turning. And there is a switch in line that we just saw at position 1A. Okay. Here is the chart of what the score motor does. So when the A is the bottom cam on the score motor, and it has 5 little bumps on it. Right? And this will turn from home position to home position, which is 120 degrees. The score motor is 360 degrees round, but from home position to home position is 120 degrees. And so the motor just started turning because the P relay come in. And so when it gets to this area, which is right before it gets to 30 degrees, bam, it closes that switch. And then when it gets to this area, which is a little bit, right at 45, bam, it closes the switch again. And when it gets to this area, which is at 70, bam, it closes the switch again. And then when it gets to this area, which is just before 90, bam, it closes the switch again. And then when it gets to this area that starts at 105, bam, it closes the switch again. And then it gets back to 120, which is essentially 0, and it'll stop. So it closed the switch 5 times. Bam, 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 bam. All right? So that is, it could have moved the player unit 5 times. Bam, 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 which would be kind of weird because you'd end up on ball 2, player 2. So let me show you the player unit. We went all over this last time. We haven't even cleaned all of this yet. But the player unit, these little things are on these certain lines here. And you can see that right now it's on this line, we'll call it. It was over here. This is player 1, ball 1. What it did was it advanced 2 to right here. This is player 3, ball 1. This is player 4, ball 1. This is player 1, ball 2. So it advanced up to player 3 and stopped. So it gave us 2 advances when it should have gave us 4 advances. The next time we did it, it gave us 2 more advances. Okay, so why is that? That's a great question. When the score motor starts turning, that hits 5 times. But if you look back here, it's disconnected because of all of this. So one of those is motor 2C. So that's on the score motor, which will start turning. Motor 2C. So here's the part you're going to love. So motor 2C is a switch right there that connects at that point. Now that's the only place it connects at. And if you look, that overlaps that point. So at that exact spot of the revolution, both this switch will be turned, will be closed, and that switch will be closed. So what's going to happen? Score motor will start turning, and when it gets to here, this switch will close, but nothing will happen because the line is broken. When it gets to here, this switch will close, and it will advance 1 position because this switch is also closed. Motor 2C. And then it will advance to the next place, and 2C will be open by then, so nothing will happen. The next place, nothing will happen, and the next place, nothing will happen. So this switch is closing 5 times, but only at one of those spots is another switch closed to make it advance 1 place. So where did all the other advances come from? They come from these other switches. P2G, P3G, and P4G. So what are those? Those are switches on the player unit. So P2G, P3G, and P4G are on these stacks. So we'll say this is 1, this is 2. So switch G, which may actually be that top one there that we're looking at. I don't know, maybe the one below it. Player 3G, player 4G. Player unit 2G, 3G, 4G. So if those are closed, it does it again. So score motor starts turning, and it pushes it up. When it gets to here, this switch is closed, so it pushes it up, and it just pushed it up to player 2, right there. Ball 1, player 2. And so now it gets to here. Well, when it gets to ball 1, player 2, guess what? That closed P2G. So now that one's closed. So it's still turning, and it hits here. Bam! And if that switch is closed, it's not on here because it's a different setup. But if that switch is closed at that position, when it gets to here, it will hit again and make that forward 1 more spot. So it skips over the player 2. And that now it's on player 3. Alright, so when it got to player 3, P3G should have been closed. So since it's closed, this switch hits again, bam, and it moves it from player 3 to player 4. And then it gets to player 4. And P4G is closed. So when it got to player 4, it hits again, bam, and advances you to ball 2, player 1, the next position. Well, I cleaned all the switches and I cleaned the score motor, but I didn't mess with the coin unit. So this is the coin unit in this game. Gottlieb only did this setup really for a little while. They had other ways of doing it. They had a relay bank that they used it on like that jack in the box that we did the other day. So this resets the unit, and that adds the unit. So if you put more than 1 player, this moves. Okay. So I'll move and I'll show you. See how it says 1 can play at the same time, 2, 3, 4. Well, if I move this coin unit up, 2 can play at the same time. That means it's a 2-player game now. Now it's a 3-player game. Now it's a 4-player game. That 1 bulb. Let me see. That one bulb is a bad connection on the coin unit here. Right? So what is the significance of that? Well, that's the missing piece of the puzzle here. This is the coin unit. Now this is all drawn kind of backwards. It's all backwards from how you might think. If the coin unit has not been advanced and you're on a one-player game, it is set up like this. They are showing you a one-player game, ball one, player one, the ball sitting in the out lane, and they have unplugged the power. Okay? So these three are connected. But what happens if you start a two-player game? What happens is the coin unit advances to here. So this top piece, it spins around. You saw that it's a stepper unit. This top one becomes disconnected. And now that one's connected and that one's connected. So with the top one disconnected, power comes through here. And when the player unit, when the ball goes through the trough and it makes the P relay pull in, which starts the score motor, and this starts hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like we talked about. When it gets to position 2C, it closes that one, which advances it to player 2, ball 1. Okay? And then the switch at P2G closes because you're now on player 2 on the player unit. But this is open. So nothing happens. So it just stops at player 2. Okay, well, at the end of player 2's game, or ball, the ball goes through the trough again, turns on the P relay. The P relay starts the score motor. It starts to going bam, bam. And when it gets to motor 2C, it steps up one position again. So now it goes from player 2 to player 3. Well, now that it's on player 3, this switch closes. And the coin unit, that part is still closed. So it steps it up one more position whenever this hits its third spot, right? Or its fourth spot, whatever it is. And then, so now you're on player 4. And so this switch closes. And then the score motor's still turning. And this is still connected. And so it steps it up again, and it gets it to player 1, and then it stops at player 1. Because it always stops at player 1, because there's always a player 1, the way it's designed. All right, and similarly, you can understand that if you started a 3-player game, this coin unit would move up here, and both of those would be open. So when it got to player 2, at the end of player 1's ball, it would stop. And then at the end of player 2's ball, when it got to player 3, it would stop. And then at the end of player 3's ball 1, it would come through. And whenever that hits, it would move it on, right, to player 1 again. So the same thing. So because of the coin unit still being dirty, what's probably going on is this switch, it's either this switch or the coin unit. I can't remember if we cleaned all these last time. But basically we need to clean the player unit switches and we need to clean this coin unit. The coin unit is really simple in these. I'll show you that a little closer. So it's just a little stepper unit. It's got one coil down there that advances it and then one coil that resets it. This is Gottlieb's standard stepper. I mean, they use this on all kinds of stuff. They use it for like the bonus sometimes and just different things. And there is a switch there. What in the hell is going on with that? Well, that don't look right. What have they done to our switch? I can't even tell what's wrong with it. It's so screwed up. Let me try to reset it here. So we're on position 4, I believe, right? So if I hit that, that has moved it back. Yeah, look at this. See, that's not right. That's not how it's supposed to be. Okay, so it's in that position. Then if we step it up to position 2, it's open. Position 3, position 4. So that's not right. Okay, so let's see what this switch is. That's probably the one that should open at position 4. Okay, so it's that switch right there. See, it says third position coin unit. And so that is used to make it where the V relay will not pull in. And it says third position, which is actually the 4th position because there's a 0 position. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3. So why would they put a switch there that opens at the 3rd position and turns off the V relay? Well, the V relay is the replay button relay. So when you press the start button, it pulls in that relay and adds another player, basically. So why do they want it opening at the third position? Because they want you to be able to start a one-player game, and then a two-player game, and then a three-player game, and a four-player game. But when you get to the fourth-player game, they don't want that start button to do anything, because if you hit start again, it's going to take another quarter from you, and you can't start a five-player game. So they've got that designed in like that. So why is it opening the way it is? Well, somebody's really misadjusted it or taken that off and put it on backwards or something. I'm going to see if I can find let me think. I think they've just got on the wrong side of that post. If they move it around to the other side of the post, we'll see if it works properly. Actually, there's plenty of room. They just had it bent weird. So this is position 1, or position 0, actually. Position 0, and it's closed. Okay, so you hit start, 2-player, 3-player. Is it still closed? Yup. 4-player. So at the 4th player it opens, and then when it resets. Okay, yeah. So this coin unit is not resetting all the way back. Watch how I can just do it with my hand. It should be resetting all the way back. All right, so this all just needs rebuilt. But that should open whenever you get to the 4th player, so that you can't steal another credit. But it's a very simple thing. You've got that one switch, you've got the 2 coils, and then you have this I can't even think what to call that, platter or whatever, cam mounted on it that just needs to be clean, and where all of the rivets and everything are clean. So I'm going to take that off. You've kind of got to usually take the screws out of the mount so that you can move that so you can get to that side of it. But let me get that off and I'll show you what it looks like underneath it. All right, so I have removed the wafer, the disc, the cam, and you can see what the problem is. It's just everything's so grimy. Ugh, look. Ugh. So you just need to clean all that up. So I'm going to take sandpaper and lightly clean that. You can do it the way you want, but that's what I use, is sandpaper. And then after you do that, you need a little bit of grease to make it where there's no friction as the thing spins over those rivets. If you look, you'll see the traces of grease that were on there before. That's because they used that from the factory. So you need just a little bit just to lubricate it, because if you don't, you're just going to have metal on metal. Not a good idea. So this is what we use. We use Super Lube. It's dielectric. Whoop, I always go a little bit too far. Dielectric. Look, it's food grade, so you can drink this stuff. Put something like that on there. You can get that at the hardware store. If you don't want to get it at your hardware store, you can support our channel by going to our website. Go to lionsarcade.com. We've got stuff like this on a parts page listed on our website. And it's stuff that's listed on Amazon, things like that. It's got made in the USA, so it's tariff-free. No terrifying tariffs for you. So we appreciate everybody that's been doing that. If you go buy any of that stuff on Amazon, or just click the link and buy something else on Amazon, it gives us credit for sending you there, and we make money off of that. So we appreciate that. So I think I will clean this up like usual, put a little bit of that on there, and then we'll see if this thing works the way it did. Now you might be saying, well, aren't you going to completely disassemble it and clean the bushing and all that? Usually it doesn't need it. If it needs it, I will, but usually it doesn't. Usually the problem is right here. It's just the resistance on these rivets because of all the grime and the grease. That's all covered up pretty good, you know, and it's a nylon bushing on metal. It doesn't need any lubrication. And this is another good test for things like this. Look how well that moves. So there's a spring on the other side. See how well that's springing back to where it goes? And remember, it only moves 4 positions. The bushing isn't the problem. The resistance on the rivets is the problem. All right, so let me clean that up, and then we'll see if I'm correct about that being the only issue. All right, so we can see it better now. position 1 and then reset on its own. Or position 0 actually. 0, 1, 2. No, I had it wrong. Position 0, 1, 2, 3. No, I've got that all wrong. There's only 3 positions. So this is a 1-player game, 2-player game, 3-player game, 4-player game. Okay. I guess actually I am right. So it's 0. It's 1. Let's start at 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm correct. Okay. So position 0, 1, 2, and then 3, and it's open at 3, so you can't do it again. Which you couldn't anyway, but they don't want you to waste your quarter. And we've got the switch adjusted where it's through the switch. All right. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why is that bent? Well, sometimes if it's hitting a cam, it's a little easier to have that bent than have it bent way back here. Do as I say, not as I do, people. You can do it however you want. That's just how I chose to do it on that particular one. Now on the other ones, they should be straight. But it'll be all right. Don't worry about it, folks. Yeah, so it's resetting good. Everything's cool. That's all sweet. So we'll put that back together. We've got all them. We've got them. Let's see if that alone fixed the ball and play thing that we were having, or if we need to mess with the player unit next. Now we're going to mess with the player unit, but let's see, just for giggles, was it just this, or was it the switch on the player unit? All right, folks, we're going to try it again. Let's see if it advances properly. It's a 1-player game. Oh, it did not. Okay, so our problem is not the coin unit. Our problem must be the switch on the player unit. Let me go back and look at the other video and see if I actually cleaned all those switches, or did I just clean one switch because that's what the video was about. So let me see what I said that I did here. I was just pointing out that little switch. All right, so I adjusted it a little bit, cleaned it, and put it back. Now, I didn't clean anything else, and keep in mind this wasn't moving. I didn't clean anything else. Now, I just did that because I was trying to make a point. Always clean every switch. We're systematically going through it now, but I'm just showing you how we're tracking down the issues as we clean, just trying to make the video more entertaining. It might be making it more boring. You let me know down below. So yeah, so we need to clean all of the switches on the player unit, and I will check those 3 switches to see if they're gapped properly or if it's just that they're dirty, and I'll show you whatever I find out. All right, so I cleaned it up. Same thing with the rivets as well. Yeah, okay. So I was looking at the schematics to see if the rivets could have had anything to do with it. It's not, it's the switches. The switches looked fine. They were just dirty. So none of them seemed misadjusted at least. All right, so let's see if that has fixed it or what's going on. We haven't done the score reels yet, so you see how the one's a little crappy. Oh, I got it. All right, so what do you think, folks? Is that going to get it? Well, I have to score some points. Or it didn't score anything. That's great. It did score that. All right, so let's. There we go. All right. Cool. So we at least figured that out. Let's try it. One more ball. All right, cool. So the whole problem was, now you see how it's moved from player 1, ball 1, player 2, player 3, player 4, player 2, ball 1, player 2, player 3. Player 1, ball 2, player 2, player 3, player 4, and now it has landed on player 1, ball 3. That's why we have lit up what we have lit up. So cool. All right, so obviously the 10 points isn't scoring. Let's try, since I did the things on the bottom, Earlier we noticed that when the ball lands in there, nothing happens. Now it kicks it out. Why would that be? Well, I cleaned the hole relay, I think it was called, something like that. So that must have fixed that part of it. Let's see if we can turn one of those on. How did we say? Oh, I think you hit this. Oh, well, maybe they hit that. Whatever. Let's see if that does anything. So we're at 2,500 points. Nothing. So it's still not quite right, but we're getting there. So we're slowly going through and cleaning things. So why would that be not scoring right? Well, there's probably something on the bottom of the playfield. We haven't done any of that yet. Or maybe it's the maybe it's some of these score relays. You have to go through and clean every single switch if it's been sitting a while. Another thing that it could be is all these Jones plugs. So that's coming up as well. What I may do is that little thing that we just did earlier where it wouldn't advance the player unit. And we figured out that it was the switch on the U relay. And by just doing that, it fixed it to where it at least advanced it 2 positions. And then after that, we figured out, hey, why isn't it doing that? We figured out it was the switches on that. And after doing that, it advanced it all the way through. I may cut off just that little piece that's like 2 or 3 minutes long, maybe where we found the U relay, and upload that to our new Patreon channel. So we have a channel. You can find the link down below all of our videos in the description on Patreon. Now, nothing on YouTube is going to change. You just watched this full video. We're going to keep doing the videos the way we've always done them, just as often as we've always done them. But I've thought for years about the Patreon thing. If you don't know, you have to pay to subscribe to somebody's Patreon channel, which is awful tempting as a content creator. But I didn't want to set up a Patreon where it had exclusive stuff that you had to have money to watch. I don't really like that. I like the idea that all these videos are free, which they are, here on YouTube. And then, of course, I'm sure you realize we make money off ad revenue and things like that. So I've thought a lot about, well, what can we do on Patreon that's not a slap in the face to people that can't afford it, but that's an extra value that people might enjoy. Okay, and so we've came up with a couple ideas. We've got 3 or 4 things that we're going to upload on there. One thing we're going to upload on there is more concise repair tips that are edits of the videos that we've already done. So like I was just mentioning, if I took out just that one little piece of this video and uploaded it on Patreon as its own thing, that's pretty cool. You know, and you can put the title, if your player unit isn't advancing properly, check this out, or blah, 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 you know. So, and maybe that's not even a great example, but there's plenty of them that I can do that with. We've got 1,300 videos, and hidden inside of all of those videos are little repair tips where we figured something cool out like that right in the middle of the video. And as you can tell, I'm quite loquacious. I like speaking a lot. And we cover a lot in our videos. But stuff gets lost. It's just, you know, people email me and say, hey, you know, somebody emailed the other day and said something about how the kicker wasn't kicking the ball all the way out. And they wanted to know, they remembered that I showed that in a video, but they couldn't remember which video it was. And then I started thinking about it, and I thought, I think it was in an abracadabra video. I don't remember. So there was this cool little part in one of those abracadabra videos where the ball wasn't kicking all the way out, and we figured out what the issue was. So now I got to go look through 3 or 4 of those and try to find exactly which one it was, right? So there's a real problem with indexing on YouTube just because there's so much content. So I think on Patreon, that could be one thing that we offer, but it's not really keeping anything from somebody because it's still, all of it's readily available on our channel. It's just, you got to find it. So there's that. There's clips that we haven't been able to upload in the videos because it's repair fails. Maybe we just started working on something, never fixed it. We've got 3 or 4 minutes that we filmed on it, and we just never released it because, you know, it's not showing anybody anything. So it's almost like outtakes and bloopers. So we put a little bit of that stuff up on there. We've also got, sometimes we'll be playing a jukebox, or on our amateur repair time channel, we'll be playing a record player that we just repaired, and YouTube hates it. They will not let us play music. If you don't know, if you play about 6 seconds of any kind of music that you've ever heard, it can identify about everything. If you play about 6 seconds of it, it takes the revenue that your entire video makes. So like if you have like an hour-long video, you play 6 seconds of Korea's Clearwater Revival song, for instance, non-monetized. You didn't create that. No, that belongs to Universal Music Group. We're going to give them all of the proceeds of your video, your hour-long video that you made. That's YouTube's stance on it. Patreon, you can upload whatever you want because they're not playing ads on it, so they don't have the same problem. So we can upload little clips where we played music. YouTube wouldn't allow it to be uploaded. Put stuff like that on Patreon. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, the link is down below the video. Check it out, and you can go over there. And there's some stuff up there you can just watch. You don't even have to be a member or anything. So we may do that. But, yeah. All right, so we've basically worked through the bottom of it. We got it fixed in the first video. We got it to start up. We've worked through the bottom mech board. We've worked through the player unit. That leaves us the relays in the back box, the score reels, which are always fun. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, can't wait to do the score reels. They're not that bad. And the stuff hanging under the playfield, and then we have to troubleshoot it. So we've probably got one more video, maybe 2 more videos on this one, and then it'll be done. The playfield itself, the customer wanted to do that, so he's already messed with that, and he feels confident with that. So he doesn't want us to clean it up or replace rubber rings or anything like that. He's going to handle that. So we've just got to get it where it reliably works and everything's good and solid. I feel like the mech board is good and solid because we just worked through the whole thing. There's no more problems down there unless we find something while we're troubleshooting it. But we need the same kind of reliability out of the rest of these relays in the back box, out of all of these score reels. We've got to clean all the Jones plugs, and not just the ones that connect things, stuff like this where the 3 or 5 ball adjustment, that's a Jones plug. That needs to be cleaned too. If that's not making good contact, you're going to have problems. So we still got to clean all that stuff, and the stuff on the bottom of the playfield we need to mess with. Tons of relays and things under there, and we need to play it. So there's still plenty left to do. Hope you've enjoyed it so far. Leave your comments down below, and we will see you back here in a couple days where we'll go through it again. Now, if you like these mid-70s, late 70s Gottlieb games, so do I. I'll put one up here for you to watch one that we repaired a while back.